Hello, everybody, and welcome back into Ash Talk. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Jake alongside Hayden. What a exciting, wild weekend in sports that we just came out of. But you know what? The great thing about football season is we get to go right back into another one.
That's it, baby.
And so we are so glad that you guys are with us here. Before we get into, we're going to have pigskin prognosis. We're going to have picks against the spread. We're going to talk about our Take It to the Banks from last week. A lot of college football coming up on the show as well. But first, before we get into that, Hayden, what are you smoking today?
I'm smoking a Gurkha.
I'm shocked.
As
You know what? Hold up. Time out. If there's anybody that can send Hayden some cigars so he doesn't have to smoke Gurkhas every single week, we would appreciate it.
I'm good with that.
You know what? A pack of Black and Mild wine wood tips will do just fine.
As long as they're wood tips.
Something so we don't have to hear about Gurkhas every single week. And you know what? This week, you're smoking something that I smoked a couple weeks ago, so I'm excited to get your take on the Gurkha. I believe you're smoking a Gurkha Beast.
Beast. Full-bodied, baby. Full of flavor. Strong. Full of nicotine. It's going to hit you just right. So far, so good.
Have you smoked it before?
I have. I had a pre-smoke with it just to kind of see. Sometimes with darker cigars, I get a little nervous simply because I've had bad experiences as a cigar smoker over the last 15 years. And they're all with darker cigars. I might pair it with the wrong bourbon or whatever. And so I think now, since I've been smoking a lot more than I normally do, I don't think it has that type of effect on me anymore. But I wanted to give it a test so I didn't get sick on the show and everyone can judge me. So definitely full-bodied, good so far. It's always good towards the beginning, but the proof will be in the pudding about halfway through. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna leave you on the edge of your seats with my final review.
Very nice.
You puffing on over there, Jimbo?
I have a My Father La Valencia.
Oh.
This is a I believe it's Nicaraguan wrapper. Or I'm sorry, it's Nicaraguan binder, and it's a San Andreas wrapper. So it's a full cigar. It's in a Toro size, so it's a pretty decent size cigar. I have not smoked this. Came in a sampler pack. So far, just on the cut, the feel, just lighting it up just now. I've just got a gut feeling this is going to be a really good cigar.
Ooh.
Again, got this off Holtz on a sampler pack. I'm excited to try this. This is a bigger cigar, so it's going to be a little bit longer burn. The last few cigars that I've smoked are more robusto, so they're a little bit smaller.
Yep.
Really excited. This is a full-bodied cigar as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to compare this to the Gurkha Beast that I had a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm doing a V cut today.
There you go.
I
did a hole punch today.
You did a hole punch?
Yeah, dude.
See, I don't do hole punches, man.
I wanted to change it up a little bit. The last couple that I've done,
I don't get enough of the draw.
Oh, see, you gotta take that little puncher.
Maybe that's what I'm not doing.
Yeah, it just gives me a little extra pull.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's very cool.
Just stay close to me, man.
You know, I'll try.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna stick with my V cut. Let's just be honest.
That's fair.
So we got a lot of sports coming up for you. Just a quick talker. Take it to the banks last week. Hayden, you are now 2-2. Congratulations. Very well done, sir. You had Ole Miss beating Georgia, and not only did they beat them, they handled them 28-10.
Yes, they did.
So great pick there.
Yep.
Mine did not hit, so I'm now 1-3. I said Indiana was going to beat Michigan by 20 points. That didn't happen. They did win the game, but they only won by 5, so now I'm 1-3 in my Take It to the Banks.
Which I definitely want to talk about that game later on. I want to talk about Indiana later on. But
we have. Do you want to talk about it now?
I do.
Okay.
Indiana showed the world that they're not good. They are
How?
not good. They've not played anybody on their
They
schedule.
played bad and still won the game.
They played Nebraska. That's the only team that they played worth anything. Michigan's not worth anything, and they barely won. They haven't seen a defense like that, and it showed. They are not this premier team that the world is saying they are.
They're getting in the playoff.
Well, they're going to have to. As long as if they're going to lose to Ohio State, they're not getting in the playoff.
Yeah, they'll get
Because Ohio State's
you
going to
can't
beat them.
be you can't be an 11-1 team in the Big Ten and not make the playoff.
Penn State's going to get in the playoffs, and they're not going to be 11-1. They're going to lose to Ohio State. Oh no, I thought they already had a loss. No, but they're going to lose.
There's still
handily.
plenty of room on this Hoosier bandwagon. I'm waiting for you to join. I know
way,
they
bro.
completely crushed your
No way.
nuts this past
No way.
Saturday, and you basically had to have a funeral for your 2024 Michigan Wolverine team
Yeah,
this past week.
it's true.
Do I think they're going to win the national championship? No. Are they going to get into the playoff, and could they win a game? Absolutely.
Let's talk about this for a second, though. If Indiana loses by more than like 7 points to Ohio State, they're out.
No.
Because Penn State would be in front of them.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, but Penn State. Okay,
Penn State only lost by like
but
3 points to Ohio State.
You can't take a Big Ten team that win 11-1.
That would be Penn State. They would go 11-1 as well.
Yeah, then you put them in.
So you put Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon,
Yeah,
Indiana,
and that's it. There's your 4 from the Big Ten. 4 from the Big Ten.
wow.
Sorry, when you add Oregon and you add all these other teams, you gotta put more teams in to the conversation at least of the playoff. And I'm sorry if you go the only team. Here's my thing. They just can't get blown out by Ohio.
They're going to get shredded by
Now, if they lose 45-7, then we can have a conversation. But if they lose by even 2 touchdowns and then they take care of business against Purdue the following week, Indiana will be in the college football playoff. Because then you're going to have, I believe the way the standings would be set up, you would have a rematch between Oregon and Ohio State for the Big Ten title game. One of those teams loses. Not a lot's going to change there. You add in Penn State and Indiana, and there you go. That's my take. I think you're right. They're not a national championship caliber team, but they are a good team. They did not play well on Saturday. Their offense struggled. They made a ton of mistakes.
because they finally played a decent defense.
Yeah, and Michigan is a good defense, but they still won the game.
They did, but it was bad. It was a bad.
Yeah, but like that's the difference between true teams and teams that are just playing around. I'm telling you right now, if Iowa State would have played that same exact team, they would have lost. They lost this past week against Kansas. They are a fraud team. No, do I think they're a good team? Yeah. Are they a great team that deserves to be in the playoff? Iowa State I'm talking about? No, they don't. But Indiana has proved enough to me by going 10-0. And who knows? They might beat Ohio State. I mean, to me, it's what I think the committee and the rankings is going to look at is how respectable were they to Ohio State in the coming weeks. Again, if they get blown out, we can have that conversation. If they lose by 10, 12, 13 points, you have Ohio State as probably right there with Oregon as the best team in the country, along with Texas. You have to consider it because they can beat some of those lesser teams like a Notre Dame, a Tennessee, something like that. So I think they for sure get in if they keep Ohio State competitive and they end up taking care of business against Purdue.
I know what my take it to the bank's going to be.
What Ohio
For
State?
that game, because that game's not this weekend. But for
No,
that week, when we can get over there, Ohio State wins by more than 3 touchdowns. They're that
They
much
won't
better.
win by 3 touchdowns.
They're that much better. Mark it down. Write it down.
Anyway.
I'm 2-2.
Anyway,
I'm 2-2.
staying in the college football realm, we have a lot of these brackets are now showing up,
They are.
which I think is interesting. So you can kind of see what the 12-team playoff would look like if the season ended today.
Yep.
What I want to get your take on is it's almost like a who's in, who's out. We'll get into the Tennessee-Georgia game here in a little bit because that's really the big game this weekend. A lot of teams are on byes this week. Not a ton of really good matchups, but that Tennessee-Georgia game we're going to go into here in a second.
Yep.
But looking at the college football bracket. Some of the team, what I want to get your take on is here's your final 4 teams that would just make the cut in the college football playoff. You would have Tennessee, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, and Indiana. Who of those do you think is for sure going to be in that playoff, and who do you think is going to be kicked out?
You said Tennessee, Ole Miss, Indiana, and
Notre
Dame. Like who's in?
They are the final 4 seeds in the college football playoff if the season ended today.
Right. So the question was what again? I apologize.
What of those 4 teams do you think? Yes, they're going to definitely be in the college football playoff, and obviously, I think you just already alluded to it. Which teams do you
Notre
think
Dame
are not going to be in?
Yeah, Notre Dame's going to be in. Indiana's going to be out.
Do you think Ole Miss or Tennessee?
No, absolutely not.
No.
I mean, Ole Miss beat a Georgia team that's not that impressive now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but if they beat Tennessee this week, then the conversation. I mean,
they still have 2 losses. I still think they're on the outside.
So does Georgia.
That's why I'm talking about Georgia.
Yeah,
Georgia has 2 losses. Notre Dame has 1.
Yep.
Again, strength of schedule. We can have that conversation, but they have 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna put a 2-loss Georgia, who's on a downhill slide, in over a 1-loss Notre Dame.
No,
absolutely not. So is the question who's out?
Just who do you like to stay, and who do you think? Okay, they're not gonna.
I like Notre Dame to stay.
Tennessee in or out?
They're 2 losses right now, though, right?
They're 1 loss, but they have to play Georgia this week.
Who do they have remaining on their schedule? I feel like they play like Texas.
I believe it'd be rivalry week, so I think it would be.
They already murdered Oklahoma, didn't they?
No.
Texas. Oh no, Tennessee's rivalry week. Tennessee.
Yeah.
Probably be Ole Miss. They're rivals.
Maybe I'd have to look.
Yeah.
Why do you ask me these questions?
I'm
I
sorry.
can pull my phone up.
I'm sorry. This isn't.
You know what?
This is well. Here's the thing. I've got a lot of respect for Ole Miss. I just think it's hard because half the SEC has 2 losses.
I think it's South Carolina. Let me.
That's not their rival,
but I think that's their final game.
Look out for South Carolina now.
Yeah. So they got Georgia this week, then UTEP, whatever. Vanderbilt. Is who they end with.
Oh, cool. That's fine. Tennessee's out for me. Tennessee's out.
So you're thinking that they lose to Georgia probably?
Yeah. I think they're going to lose to Georgia. Georgia can't afford to lose another game.
I agree.
It's going to tarnish their reputation. It's going to, all of a sudden, is this the downfall of Kirby Smart talk? And
well, Georgia right now is right on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
You know, so the outside looking in teams are SMU, Army, Georgia, Texas A&M. Those are kind of the 4 main ones that are.
Which is crazy that Army's undefeated on the outside looking in. Again, strength of schedule.
But if they somehow beat Notre Dame,
and they could.
Here's a question for you. We'll get back to the Georgia thing. If Army beats Notre Dame but loses to Navy, do you put Army in? They're an 11-1 team. They beat the number 8 team in the country, and Navy's not terrible.
They're 7-2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, Navy was a ranked team for most of the. But again, Navy got crushed by Notre Dame. So
yeah,
it's kind of like
I'll tell you what. I don't want to be in the committee to talk about that. I mean, that would really throw a wrench into something.
I think you put Army in even if they beat if Army beats Notre Dame, I don't think they will. But if they beat Notre Dame and they like lose a close one against Navy, I think you got to put Army in because you just
right.
And Notre Dame's out because
that'd be 2 losses.
and
they got a bad loss.
Yeah, against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, they got.
So
a bad
you
loss.
can't. I mean that Notre Dame can't lose the rest of the way. Otherwise, they're
and maybe that loss might affect them. Mm-hmm. That loss, even if that's the only one, might hurt them at the end. We'll find out.
I still think if Notre Dame, because of the position they're in, they win the rest of their games they're in, even though that's a bad loss. They're not gonna have to play anybody on championship Saturday. I think Notre Dame. There's so many of these teams that are like 8 through 12 that they cannot afford a loss. And getting back to the Georgia game,
yeah,
this Georgia-Tennessee game literally is going to it's literally win or go home.
Right.
Because if you win this game, if you're Georgia, you're back on track. You're back in the playoff. Everything's
So
fine
you're
for
just
me.
assuming a 2-loss Georgia's back in the playoffs.
Absolutely, because they beat Tennessee. Now, if you're Tennessee and you lose, you're out. Because Georgia's, they beat Texas. Their only loss would be to Alabama and to Ole Miss.
Which lost Alabama,
which
you lost Ole Miss.
yeah, but they're both playoff teams, so I would put Georgia in there. Regardless, for this week, Tennessee and Georgia is a winner go home type atmosphere. We're in week 11.
Yeah,
so that's what's exciting.
It definitely is. For me, I just think Georgia doesn't deserve. They deserve to be sitting on the outside
For now.
That's where they need to be. So
If they win out, you got to put Georgia in.
you're gonna put them in over a undefeated BYU. You're gonna put them in.
No, BYU would actually have the bye. BYU, as it stands right now, they would have the bye. So you have Oregon, Texas, BYU, and I think Miami are your 4 bye seeds right now.
Yep.
So I'm glad on how they did that. With if you win your conference of the main 4, you get a bye. You get very NFL-esque.
Yep.
But yeah, who do you like in the Tennessee-Georgia game? I'm very high on Georgia. This is kind of it.
Yeah.
I'm going down with the ship.
Yeah.
I've been so high on Georgia after that Texas game and that terrible performance against Ole Miss last week. I'm going down with the ship, baby. I'm choosing to believe.
Where's it at?
It's in Georgia.
It's in Georgia's in Athens. So
They're like 10.5-point favorites too. So I don't know what Vegas knows, but that caught me off guard.
that is interesting. I still.
Am I boring you?
No. Yeah. No.
I'm teed up today.
Here's my thing about Georgia. Do I think they deserve to be in the playoffs? No. Do I still think they're probably the best team in the country? Yep, I do. Their quarterback sucks.
Yeah.
Did he end up throwing 2 picks? I know for sure he threw 1. I think he ended up throwing 2 picks against Ole Miss. Horrible quarterback.
Either way, whether he threw 2 picks or not, you had your quarterback garner 10 points. You can't do that. Can't do it.
So I do. I'm gonna take Georgia. I like Kirby Smart. I like Georgia and their program. It would hurt my heart to see them lose a 3rd game. Probably not the rest of America. They're tired of the Georgia reign, but for me,
Hasn't been that much of a reign though. They won 1 national championship.
yeah, but they've been there.
Yeah, but
They're smacking.
Reign is like Alabama winning 3 out of 5.
The reputation.
titles
Oh,
out of
Georgia's
5.
coming to town.
Yeah.
Oh, great, we're playing.
If they lose this game, I see what you're saying. If they lose this game against Tennessee, the fear factor of facing Georgia completely goes away.
100%.
And if you're Tennessee, you're thinking too. I mean, they're gonna have to play really hard.
Yep.
They know that, but Tennessee is, and they're kind of like Penn State, where they're always on the outside looking in, on the outside looking in. This, Tennessee, the Volunteers know that if they can beat Georgia, they've established themselves as an upper echelon program that's going to go to the playoff and potentially make some noise.
I think Tennessee's your Iowa State to me. I think they're a fraud.
Really?
I think Tennessee's a fraud. I think they're an off-brand Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I just do. I just think they're a fraud. And so we'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Hey, they beat Georgia. I have mad respect. I will come and apologize to all you balls out there. But right now, I think they're a fraud. I don't think they really are what their record shows. That's just my take it to the bank talk right there. But I wouldn't call that.
It's gonna be so fun these last 3 weeks. It's gonna be so crazy to see. So, and then you got A&M down there at 7-2. There's so many. I mean, this is what you get, though. I mean, this is what you get. You get these 2-loss teams that are we gonna put them over these schools with 1 loss that kind of have the same strength of schedule?
It's muddy.
It is.
money.
And we knew it was going to be this way, right? So we can't act shocked and surprised. But I would much rather much rather not have to deal with the conversation of, well, what if Army goes undefeated? Are you not going to put them in the top 4? We don't have to deal with that.
Right.
Army knows what they have to do. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Navy. They're in.
They're in.
So it's just
Wouldn't it be freaking wild? Like, if Army goes in and they win it out, they win it all. They go in and win a natty. Could you imagine?
I would.
Could you imagine? I would light my house on fire.
They're gonna. They would bring Trump in.
Oh,
they would.
It would be. It would be just crazy. Talk about a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just want to see them compete with Notre Dame in a couple weeks. I just want to see them not lay an egg like Navy did.
Yeah.
I know it's probably not going to happen, but it'd be pretty cool to see.
It'd be sweet. So, it'd be sweet. A lot of fun stuff in college football.
A lot of fun stuff. So you still have Georgia as your top. I mean, you still think they're the best. I mean,
I still think they're the best.
Who would you say? Okay, I'm gonna bet on 3 teams going into the college football playoff. You got $5 each. What teams would you bet on? What 3 teams would you bet on from here on out to win the national championship?
Omitting Georgia. I'm gonna omit Georgia because I just don't know if I see them going in. I just don't know if I see them going in. If they're in, then I would definitely bet a Georgia natty.
Okay.
Just
as it stands right now.
Yeah, a Georgia natty, an Oregon natty.
Yeah,
I don't like Oregon at all. But I hate to say it, they're good.
Yeah,
they're really good. And they've showed up against big teams and have won. So, Ohio State, and probably Ohio State.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say that either. But
this has just been such a fun and yet miserable ride for you.
It really has, man. It's rough as a Michigan fan, man. Just to sit back and fingers crossed for a bowl game, hoping to maybe play like App State again or something like that in a bowl. Or I don't even know anything, man.
Real quick, because you're so down in the dumps, where do you go from here if you're Michigan? What do you want to see happen to Michigan? Because we have to touch base on them, on the Wolverines. What do you want to see take place in the next 6 months, 6 to 8 months?
I want to fire our offense and defensive coordinator.
Okay. Start firing people.
I would fire them. They've both proven that they can't do it. Our offensive coordinator, we talk about it every week. He's just awful. He needs to go. I'm not a jump on Sharon. He's a horrible coach. He's not good enough. You can't fire a coach after 1 year over a complete overhaul, but you do need to fire some of the guys that he brought in that has showed. I mean, it's not even close with the talent that they have on that team for them to have 5 losses. Looking at 6 for sure.
Right.
Is just not acceptable at the University of Michigan. So fire them. Man, I've seen talk about people wanting to bring Lincoln Riley as our offensive coordinator. That would be insane if we brought him. But yeah, I think that's where you start and buckle up some of these commitments. We got some big guys kind of on the fringe wanting to commit to Michigan. And
ultimately, it's what you do next year. Whether you keep people or fire people, I don't really care. It's what you do next year because you lost so much of the team.
Yeah.
Going in, you knew this was going to be like a 500 type team. Like in your heart, you've told me like this is like a 500 win team.
Yep.
But nobody really wanted to believe it because, you went undefeated and won a national championship.
Yep.
So it's like, it's hard to like really truly believe it now that you've visually seen that this is just a 500 ball club. For me, whatever you do with recruits, with coaching, okay, you won 7 games.
Yep.
Win 9.
Yeah.
Win 9. Like, you don't have to beat everybody and make the college football playoff, I don't think, next year. But I think it's, are you ascending or not?
Right.
Now, if you regress, then I think you have to look at Jerome Moore as potentially needing to go.
Yeah.
But until then, you got to let him have some opportunity to refill the pipeline with the offense and with what he wants to see. The other thing is will a head coach take action? So you've seen this year that nobody's really happy with that offensive coordinator. Are you willing to take action, or are you willing to ride that out? Because my thing is that if you didn't see any progress throughout the season, that's a major red flag.
Oh, yeah.
And so Jerome Moore, I think, has to just
He needs to fire him now and take over the play calling. That's what he needs to do.
Well, I think you're too far in the season. I probably wouldn't.
Fire him.
No, I wouldn't, just because the next guy coming in, you don't want to coach that makes a brash decision. But are these, I guess my question is are these his guys that he chose? Or were these leftovers
Wink
from...
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if
the coordinator.
Okay.
Sharon chose.
Okay.
But Kurt was there when Armbaugh was there.
Okay. So these are kind of... Jerome took that just because he needed something in place, but they seen that the defense was still played pretty well. But you made a decision to replace, or you made a decision to keep going with that offense, and you clearly didn't have the talent. So now you have to start from scratch.
Yep. He's got to rethink his whole offensive philosophy. The smash mentality, I hate it. I hate hearing smash. You're never going to be able to do what you did in 2023. You're never going to be able to do what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spread the frickin' ball out.
Yeah.
You got to spread them out and throw the ball. That is college football. You've got to do RPOs. You've got to have a mobile quarterback. You've got to have a line that can hold a block for more than a second and a half.
Right.
You've got to be able to throw, because you're starting to play teams that are going to score 40 points a game, and your smash mentality is not going to get it done.
Yeah, it's how you're willing to...
Because now your defense is staying on the field.
Right.
And they're going to get gashed at some point because they're out there for an hour a game.
Right.
So...
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they had... Last year, they had the coach. They were up against the world with Harbaugh's suspension. They had the players that they wanted to fit that scheme, but also the players that were in that scheme were transcendent talents that you don't see all on the same squad. I mean, that's very rarely. I mean, you can talk about like the 2019 LSU team.
Yep.
Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. You had Moss at tight end. Like that's nobody was going to stop them.
Right.
That was very much Michigan last year in their smash mentality. Now he's got his work. Jerome Moore's got his work cut out for him, because now he's got to totally rethink the offense. We spent a lot of time on Michigan.
Yeah. Sorry. There's a lot of people out there who are like, I'm so tired of Michigan. No one cares. They've only got 5 wins. So we get it. I'm sorry.
Sorry. This was a therapeutic.
I needed it. I mean, there's still
funeral.
More that come out, but yeah.
You know, one of the 5 steps of grief.
Exactly.
We're working through acceptance. Right?
That's right. Acceptance.
So that takes a little bit of time.
That's true.
Switching to the NFL.
Got that right, buddy.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk on college?
No, I'm just excited. This week's going to be kind of boring, to be honest with you. I'm a little...
Yeah, it's all in preparation for that Tennessee-Georgia game. That's why we don't have really any more games to like even cover, because it's, unless they want to talk about
Wofford, baby. Let's go.
Appalachian State.
Let's break it down, man.
Titans out there.
That's right. Yep.
But I think we talked about Tennessee-Georgia. Huge game. We both like Georgia. Switching to the NFL. Your Bills look actually really, really good at 8-2. We're going to get into the game of the week. Obviously, a lot of people are going to want to hear about what our thoughts are on the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yep.
Big game this week. We're going to spend some time on that.
Yep.
What are your overall thoughts just on what's going on in the NFL right now?
I think it's fun. I still think it's a great
It's always
season.
fun.
But I just think there are teams that are there, that are going to compete, everyone's saying, oh, Kansas City, man, they're going to win it. It's just Kansas City. And I think the world is saying, that they can win, no doubt. They're undefeated, but they're not by any means unbeatable, nor are they the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close. So I think it's fun. I think it's fun to see Detroit play well. I think it's fun to see Minnesota play well. I think it's fun to see. Green
No, they
Bay.
play like we
Well,
won the game. But
well,
we
you
played
got
like
two
garbage
losses.
on Sunday.
But you still took the dub. It's fun to see the Texans play well. R.I.P. It was a great game. I don't know how you lose to a quarterback that threw 5 interceptions. You still lost the freaking game at home.
Yeah, that's. I said this last week. It's all culminating into a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl because I don't think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, but situationally, they just figure it out.
They figure.
And when you win 2 Super Bowls and you're going for a third, you can tell on the field they just play with absolutely no pressure.
Right.
No pressure at all.
Yeah.
There's teams and franchises and players that are all invested to try to change everything, right? And there's just immense amount of pressure on certain players, coaches to get stuff done. For them, they don't even look excited that they're 9-0.
Right.
They did situationally. It's something we haven't seen since like Belichick and Tom Brady when it comes to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They just stuff just happens and they win the game.
Right.
So I'm in agreement with you. I don't think they're the best team in the NFL, but on the same token, they have something that nobody else in the league has, and that's no pressure. And situationally, they're the best team in football.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
What do you think about the Eagles?
They are ascending. I like where the Eagles are right now. It's almost like when you look at that division, obviously the Cowboys and Giants are gone.
Yeah.
But you see, they're not going to do anything. But you see, the Eagles are starting to ascend. Commanders are starting to regress. I think the Commanders, tough loss against the Ravens and the Steelers last week with the Commanders.
Yeah.
But the Eagles, I just feel, have more talent.
Yeah.
I think the Commanders are maybe a year or two away, where the Eagles are ready to win right now.
Right.
A lot of the team that's already been to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So again, they just like what I said with the Chiefs. They don't have a ton of pressure to change everything.
Yep.
The addition of Saquon has just been monumental. And so I think it took a little bit of time to figure it out. I feel like the Ravens and the Eagles in the AFC and the NFC, they're very similar, where it's like they're good, but they're still chasing the Lions for the Eagles, and the Ravens are still chasing the Chiefs and maybe a little bit on the Bills side. Bills are kind of in that same realm too in the AFC.
Yep.
But yeah, you're really starting to see teams separate. 7-2, 8-1 teams are just. You're far enough in the season now where you just know who's good.
Yep.
But it's who can get that momentum, and I think the Eagles have that right now.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to play them, I can tell you that.
Nope. Absolutely not. We'll get to the Bills conversation whenever you're ready, but I'm going to follow your lead for now.
So how's the cigar so far?
It's good. It's starting to. I feel like I got to keep smoking it just to keep it alive. The draw is. I don't know.
Something I was going to ask you too. When you smoke cigars, what do you like to drink with cigars?
I'm not like a big time. A lot of guys love a good bourbon with their cigars. I don't mind like a good bourbon or a good, glass of whiskey or whatever. But I'm honestly like a ginger ale. I think a ginger ale is a really good pairing with a cigar. Obviously, you see us a lot with like Mountain Dew. So I don't know. What do you think? I don't think it really matters to me, but I like the soda with it.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I love a good whiskey, and just a good bourbon and a cigar is good. Just that combination of the tobacco and just like the wood of the bourbon, it's good. But I can't have that all the time. I'm like you, like a Coke or a Mountain Dew, just a soda, just some fizzy drink to just kind of balance it out.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm in the same boat. Just a regular soft drink.
Yep.
It's call me weird, call me not as classy and as dainty as
That's right.
as,
And look at
as
it.
the
We're
fancy-
both
yeah.
pathetic. And that's
Yeah,
fine. We've
we
learned
are.
to just kind of come to terms with it, and here we are.
All right, you ready to do pigskin prognosis?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here are your games.
We're going to do some pigskin prognosis.
Picks
We got
against
some
the-
picks against the spread, baby.
Picks against the spread. I am 19-11 now, so I have regressed about as bad as Sam Darnold has in my picks against in my picks against the spread. We pay, if you're just joining us, Pigskin Prognosis is where we take the 5 best games of the NFL weekend coming up, and we make the picks on what the current spread is. I feel like I'm the only one talking here. Are you just?
I think your mic's not turned on.
It's
on? Perfect. All right.
that's a tragedy for all you listeners.
That would be, yeah. Anyway, picks against the spread. Yeah, you kind of are talking, but you got a lot of good stuff to say. You got a lot of gold. You know what I mean? So, on that note, picks against the spread.
By the way, you didn't ask me how my cigar is. It's doing great. Love it.
What's it called again?
It's My Father
Who art in heaven? Oh.
La Valencia. My Father is a good cigar. Good cigar. I mean,
Good
most of their
brand cigar.
yeah, good brand. Most of their cigars. I mean, they do. I think it's. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's either Fuente or maybe it's Ashton. I'm not sure, but My Father does like a lot of different collabs.
Yeah. I think they do a lot of Ashton
Yeah.
collabs. I'm pretty sure.
So they definitely know the game. They're not a. They're legit, man. And I've had the My Father Judge. If you haven't had that, make sure you pick it up. It's a good cigar. But burning very nice and just quality cigar. You can just kind of tell after you smoke a lot of cigars. You can just kind of tell once you pick it up, cut it, light it. You're like, this is
Or it sucks.
this. Well, that
Know
too.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Here we go. You ever have those days where your head is in about 38 different places? I feel really distracted. You ever
Why?
feel this? We got college football coming up.
what?
I got to talk about the Bills at some point, but we'll get there. All right, here we go.
Well, I'm. That's it. I'm done.
Here we go.
Anyway, here we go.
Picks against the spread. We got 5 games. It's our pigskin prognosis. This week, we got the Commanders at the Eagles, and Vegas has the Eagles minus 3.5.
Well, we just kind of talked about it, just on an overview with the NFL. Eagles. I'll take the Eagles. Jalen Hurts finding a rhythm, getting A.J. Brown back. Telling you, man, they got the weapons. They got the weapons to make a run. So if they're in the NFC Championship game, I wouldn't be shocked. They're that good. And last week I said I was going to be high on the Commanders, and it's almost like since that Hail Mary game, they just
Mess with them.
Yep.
Mess with them.
So I like the Eagles in this one. If the Commanders win, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'll take the Eagles and take the hit on the points.
Fair enough. How about the Packers and the Bears? They have the Bears plus 5.5. Plus 5.5. Trying to read your handwriting. I'm like,
You're getting there.
yeah, I was getting there. Packers and the Bears. They have the Bears at 5.5.
That's a tough point spread at 5.5. I'm gonna go.
Well, the Bears are just.
I'm gonna go
atrocious.
Packers. Yeah, I'm gonna go Packers. Bears. I'll eat the points. I'll take the Packers. I'm a believer in Green Bay. I think they're a quality team. Chicago, they're wanting to literally run Matt Eberflus out of town. Which would be another head coach that Chicago would burn and turn. But yeah, I'm gonna go Green Bay in this one.
Good pick. Good pick. You ever watch like College Game Day and Lee Corson?
Oh, Lee.
Good picks.
Thank you, Lee.
That's a good pick. Not so fast, but we got the Ravens and the Steelers. They have the Steelers in +3. The state.
I'm gonna go Ravens.
Okay.
I know they're on the road, but I think they got more firepower.
It's the Ravens.
Steelers are good. They're a gritty team. They're tough. I like their defense. Russell Wilson's playing well, but I think the Ravens just have too much firepower. It's going to be a great game, though.
Rivalries, anything can happen.
So many rivalries. It's like we were missing out on some big rivalries. We got Packers and Bears. Now we got Ravens and Steelers.
Yep.
It's like kind of those rivalry games are starting to get in.
It's exciting. Makes for a good weekend. It's going to make up for a lousy college football weekend.
Is that why you're so sad?
I think that's what it is. Like, Saturdays, I devote my day to watching 5 games and just not.
You're on a bye week this.
I am. I'm on a bye week, y'all. I'm on a bye week. We got the Falcons and the Broncos, and Vegas has the Broncos -2.5. What you think, player?
I'm gonna take the Broncos. I think they're upset from that Chiefs game.
You like the -2.5?
Yeah, I think, which is kind of shocking to me, that they're actually favorites, even though they are at home.
Yeah,
but give me Bo Nix. I think they're upset with what happened. I don't think they're gonna let this game slide.
you hate Bo Nix.
I do, but I think he's playing better.
Yeah,
And they almost beat the Chiefs. I'll buy in. Give me the Broncos one more week. They lose, I'll throw them out. But
perfect.
because I don't like Bo Nix, but
Yep.
when I say I don't like Bo Nix, I don't know the guy.
He doesn't like anything about him. His character, his integrity, the way he dresses, his religious beliefs.
It all is crap.
Yeah, everything about him. That's just kind of where he's at right now. All right, well we're gonna crescendo here into the game of the week. And I think we can spend some time here, but you got the Chiefs at the Bills in Buffalo, and they have the Bills -2.5. Bills Mafia, baby.
I felt like this was a pick'em game. So I'll take the Chiefs and the points. There's something about this Chiefs team, man. Until I see them lose, I think Buffalo is missing the dynamic wide receiver core.
Keon's out this week too. Coleman's out.
He is.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs. I want to believe in Buffalo so bad.
Yeah.
Because I love Josh Allen. But he can't do it all the time.
No.
And maybe he can. I don't know. I think I picked him to win the MVP this year. So I think it'll be a good game. It's classic. I mean, the Bills and Chiefs is reminding me of mid-2000s Peyton Manning and the Colts, Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yep.
That's what these two teams are.
Yeah. They split all the time.
Yeah.
The Bills will beat them, and then
in the playoffs,
right? All the time.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs win this game and the Bills come back and beat them in the playoffs.
I would be fine with that. I'd be good
so
with that.
it's almost like the Chiefs are the Patriots. Josh Allen and this Bills team are Peyton Manning and the Colts, and it took so long until Peyton finally broke through in 2006 with that Colts team. I don't know if Josh has enough weapons around him. I love James Cook, though. I think he's vastly underrated.
Totally underrated.
Completely underrated. But I just don't know if there's enough offensive weapons. But we keep saying that, and they're already 8-2. So Josh Allen is that good. It's just, is there enough wide receiver help to get him over the hump? This is a game where I look at the points and say, give me the points. So that's why I'm taking the Chiefs.
All right. I think it's a good assessment. I think it's really tough though to bet against the Bills in Buffalo.
I know.
So I respect the pick. I gotta see the Bills win by 9. I
I just want to see him win.
Yeah, I would
'Cause
like to see that too, but I want to see it. I want to see a good win. You know what I mean? I don't want there to be a
Right.
ref call.
Right.
No, I want it to be a no. You came to Buffalo and you lost because they're a better team.
Yeah, I want to see it be convincing.
Yeah,
The Chiefs just find a way, man. They just find a way. And
they do.
this would be the perfect week for them to just ball out and Patrick Mahomes to throw 5 touchdowns.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
Where they just find their groove.
Yep.
Which I'm kind of shocked at because nobody that I've seen is talking about this Chiefs team going undefeated. Just because, I mean, they haven't played that great.
No.
They still find a way to win.
They do.
I think if they get in a rhythm, you could start seeing people talk about this team possibly going undefeated. I don't think it's going to happen, but if the Bills won, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm kind of secretly pulling for them.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a closet Bills fan.
Yep.
But Buffalo, we seen last year with the Chiefs being the 3 seed that home field for them doesn't matter.
Right.
I think for Buffalo it means more, but having to go through Kansas City and having them have home field advantage, it's going to be really tough.
Yep.
For anybody to get through Arrowhead and beat Patrick Mahomes. So
Yep.
if the Bills want to turn the tables on that, they have to win this week.
Yep. They do. I would agree. Yep. I would agree, man. I would agree. So we'll see. I'm anxious for it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm anxious, but I feel good about it. I feel good.
I have a question for you.
What do you got?
You have anything else?
I don't think so.
Just my
I think I
terrible
talked about a lot.
chicken scratch.
Yeah, trying to read your stuff. I got a lot. Just a lot of.
All right, you said your head was going like 37 different ways. Pick an aisle, pick a lane. What do you got?
I'm still in this space where,
It's the same.
and I was even watching Paul Feinbaum today. I don't think Georgia deserves to be in the playoff conversation. I just don't. I think they are probably the best team in the country. If they had a good quarterback, it's a completely different game. It bothers me, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see Alabama sneak its head back in too.
Yeah. Well, technically, based on that bracket that I saw, Alabama would be in as a 10 seed.
Wow.
Would you be more scared of Alabama or Georgia?
Georgia.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, there's something about Alabama and them, how they played against LSU. It's like they just going in. It's like they're going into Crimson Tide mode.
They
They're
did.
just like they know they got to perform, and
They did show up and show out, which was good because they haven't looked like that all year. You know, so it was flashy. It felt good for Alabama. I love to see
dominated in Death Valley.
and that hasn't happened in
A long time.
a long
Especially
time.
on a night game.
Right. And I love seeing Brian Kelly lose.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think LSU will. Here's my hot take: LSU will never make a college football playoff with Brian Kelly as the head coach.
I like that. I'm good with that. People are wanting Brian Kelly to go to Michigan.
In that instance, I would take PJ Fleck over. I'm not a Brian Kelly believer. I think he's. Again, I don't know the guy, but from what I've read and what I've seen, if I'm a 5-star recruit, and you can look at me, definitely, when you look at me, you think 5-star recruit,
Right.
I would not want to play for him.
Yeah.
I just would not want to play.
He seems like he throws his team under the bus all the time. He seems like a guy that got bullied growing up, and he had to
Stand up for
himself, and like mommy and daddy took care of him and protected him, and I don't know.
I don't think it's mainly on what he says, but I get the vibe that nothing goes his way.
Right.
He gets the vibe. He gives the vibe off to me that the world is against him. Nothing ever works out his way. He's always got this befuddled look on the sidelines. I want a coach that coaches and
A player's
motivates.
coach.
Yeah, coaches and motivates that I want to play for, that when the tough times do come, I'm going to have somebody in my corner that's going to help me get out of it.
I feel like
And that is not Brian Kelly. I don't feel.
Absolutely not.
But I'm just a guy smoking a cigar.
That's it. That's it. Just talking podcast, baby.
What's your question? Did you? This is going to get a little bit personal.
Uh-oh.
Did you watch the Ben Herbstreit for Kirk Herbstreit's dog?
I did. It was horrible.
Did you weep?
I turned my head, and I had tears going down my face, and I didn't want my son to see it. He was watching it with me. It was.
I'll tell you right now. I'll look in the camera right now. I wept.
Oh.
Openly.
Oh. And before I got my dog, I would have laughed and said, "That's unhealthy."
Weak.
Yeah, like that's a dog.
Right.
Like it's not a human, dude. It's just a freaking dog. But ever since I got my dog 5 years ago, I totally get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I totally get it.
If you didn't see, Ben Herbstreit was Kirk Herbstreit's dog that he traveled all around with. Kirk Herbstreit, obviously the color commentator for Thursday Night Football. He does College Game Day, and then he calls the college night game. And so he travels all over, and he decided to take start taking his golden. I think it was a golden retriever.
Labrador retriever.
Labrador. His dog on planes with him and in hotels with him. Well, and his name was Ben, and Ben had cancer. They tried to do some different operations and stuff. I was following it all on Twitter,
Yep.
and they eventually had to say goodbye to Ben, and Kirk had to let him go. And I got more emotional with Kirk getting emotional.
Right. I mean, Kirk didn't tear up. Kirk
Broke down. Yeah.
Like broke down.
And so they did a special on Ben. Ben interacted with the players, interacted with, was down on the field with Kirk, just went wherever Kirk went.
Yeah.
And I've been a little bit critical of Kirk Herbstreit. I will never be critical of that man ever again.
Yeah.
I just, that whole segment just broke me. I haven't stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
Like, wow, he's a human like anybody else, and it affected him, and he wasn't afraid to like invite the world into
the
process.
The Rose Bowl named Ben Chief Happiness Officer, and so he got all access pass, and everybody just loved him, and so it's just been a tough thing to.
And he had
see.
to call a game 2 days later.
I know.
He had to be on the set and call a game 2 days later.
Pat McAfee too. I mean, I would much like for me that's tougher than being like in physical pain. Like for me personally.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause that's all you're thinking about.
Right.
And Kirk was obviously super attached, and I thought it was just something really cool, and I have no problem saying I bawled like a baby. I mean, I didn't like bawl, but like,
Yeah, it came.
yes.
Yeah.
I shed it. Leaky, salty tears.
There it is. There it is. It was a cool moment for sure. For sure. For sure. How's your cigar? Would you rate it?
1 through 5 bands.
1 through 5 bands, baby.
You ready to review? And
I think so.
okay, yeah, I'm getting down to the nitty gritty.
I got like that much to go.
That's what you get.
I know.
We're bringing on the biggest cigars
I know.
with Gurkhas.
It's a big cigar.
I would give this out of 5 bands. Again, we do a rating 1 through 5 bands. 1 being we wouldn't touch it. 5, we would definitely seek it out and buy it. I would give this a 4 out of 5 bands. Solid, good quality, good smoke, full cigar, plays like a full cigar. Yeah, My Father La Valencia, I would give a 4 out of 5. Definitely, if you see it, pick it up, buy it. You won't be disappointed. It's about a $10 to $15 stick.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it. Is it in that upper echelon of Opus X and Padron 1926? No, but I don't think that's necessarily what it's trying to be.
Right.
4 out of 5 bands. Solid cigar. How about you, Mr. Gurkha Beast?
Yeah, I'm still working on it. I think if you are a full-bodied cigar lover, you would certainly love this cigar. You would probably rate it a 5. I'm not necessarily a guy that's going to go full-bodied. It's every now and then. Like, I don't mind them at all. This has got some really good flavor. But for me, I would probably give this Gurkha Beast a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Just personally for my own taste, is in style of cigar that I like and the flavor. But yeah, I'd give it a 3. Again, if you like full bodied cigars and lots of flavor, something you kind of mentioned last week, a definite buy. If you're like, I'll every now and then, like, I think it's one you can probably pass by.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this amazing experience, but it's a good cigar.
Yeah, if you smoke Connecticut's and stuff that are wild, you're gonna hate that cigar.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that.
And that's kind of what my review was. I mean, it's a full-bodied, in-your-face cigar, which is nice, but it doesn't have like a smoothing balance that some of those other cigars do. But it's for what it is, it's pretty good. If it's 3 out of 5 bands.
Yep, 3 out of 5 bands, baby. Cool. So that's all I got.
Nothing.
I got nothing else, man. I'm just still thinking about in Georgia. So I don't know why. It's just bothering me a little bit. So we'll get through it emotionally, mentally.
It's bothering you about Georgia. You have this nagging. You have this nagging. I'm just like,
they're gonna take.
Dude, you are acting like your girl just broke up with you,
dude.
And it's all about Georgia.
I mean, they're gonna take somebody else's opportunity this year. They just are. It's gonna make me mad. And it's hard because I still think they're the best team in the country. But I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna give it to God. I'm gonna give it to God, and I'm gonna get through it this week. It'll be fun to watch them play Tennessee. We'll find out if they come out and beat Tennessee to sleep. Yeah,
we're back on.
They're back on in my mind.
But they need better quarterback play.
They need a better quarterback. They need to consider just taking that dude out.
Yeah.
And who else you got? Is this
run
guy
Wildcat 24/7?
That's it. Just run Wildcat, baby. Open it up and take off on them. That's what I do. That's right.
Cool. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's gonna be an exciting weekend of sports. Make sure you guys go out, get into your humidor today, and go light up and watch some sports.
Watch some sports.